Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Mercury Sextile or Trine Natal Saturn. Now, this may manifest in communications, learning, assimilating information with siblings, cousins, neighbors, short journeys. This could be in harmony with your career, laborious work that you do. And what I'm saying is, like, for example, if you're involved in some career, and most people are, you may be actually more apt to learn, what more about your trade, accepting the fact that nobody knows everything in what they're doing. I do astrology, as obviously, and for me, I know that I can't assimilate everything there is to know about it. It could be an opportune time. I mean, if your Saturn is in Aquarius as an example, or the 11th house, it could be a time where you might be more apt to learn more about things pertaining to your career, which can be astrology or computers or astronomy, electronics, anything like meteorology, aviation. And it's a time where you could articulate more at your place of business, be able to articulate things to the people that are around you, there to authority figures, being able to verbalize matters better. And it's also more of an auspicious time for communications, I would say, with authority figures, with the father, with older people at this time. And it might be where you're more mentally, accepting of laborious work that needs to be done at this time. Say if the natal Saturn was in Virgo, in the fourth house, it could be organizing disheveled home. Say if the natal Saturn is in Virgo in the 11th house, it could be defragging a computer. It could be at a time where when you have this transit as well, it could also be a time where siblings, cousins, and neighbors may be there for you to help out with certain responsibilities at this time, or at least understand that you have certain responsibilities. They may take precedence over matters with these people, and these people may be more understanding of it at this time. And if you're at a time too where Mercury is also associated with short journeys and local transportation, so it could also be a time if you have to travel to places, like say in your neighborhood, or you're just going to another town, and it's tied into some responsibility, whether it's trying to help somebody out. It could be simply helping somebody with some yard work, or buying some items from a store. Running an errand for somebody. This is a time where you're more likely to do that, and without little or no delays or obstructions in doing so at this point in time. And the thing about this too is, if you're dealing with any restrictions at this time, any restrictions or limitations, you are more apt this time to be able to verbalize them easily, because remember that when you're talking about sextiles and trines in astrology, it is an aspect that is positive. It's auspicious. The transit of Mercury is making a positive relationship to the natal Saturn at this time, and it could be a time where where in terms of wording, verbalizing certain restrictions in your life, this is the time where you may be more apt to do so at this point in time, more so than usual. I have my natal Saturn in Taurus in the 12th house. So for me, the natal Saturn by itself could be, in Taurus by itself could indicate, some limitations in matters with self-worth, self-esteem, how I feel about myself, monetary matters, in possessions, resources. And in fact, it's in the 12th house. It's in the house of secret sorrows. And this is a time where I'd be more apt to be able to articulate matters of that more, or at least be willing to talk about it more. If it's something that I was suppressing for some time, it's a time where I'm more apt to come out with it. Now, the next thing is that Saturn has also been connected with the father and older people, authority figures. So again, this is a time where the communications are more apt to be more propitious, more positive with these people, less misunderstandings. Even say if the transit Mercury is an ambiguous and cryptic Pisces, it could be a time where the communications can go smoother, and it's a time where there's more of an understanding of what you're actually saying, and also what these people may expect of you, and understanding, less likely to say, well, what did you say? Can you repeat that, please? I didn't quite get, understand what you need me to do, and there's less, propensity for disputes with these people at this time. Now, anatomically speaking, okay, Saturn is connected with the knees, the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, and the gallbladder. So it could be a time too, if there are issues that you are experiencing with anything I just described anatomically connected with Saturn, this is the time where it could be a better opportunity to talk about them, to be able to word them, verbalize them well. It's a good flow of energy from Mercury to Saturn, and this is a time where this could be even more apt to speak about these things and actually have somebody when you can describe things better, and understanding, comprehending the problem and analyzing it, and then being able to communicate it, you have a better opportunity, of course, to have something done about it and have it resolved. Now, Saturn is also connected with chronic illnesses. So if you have, say if your natal Saturn, say it's in Virgo, especially if you have it in the first or sixth house in your natal chart, because the first house, of course, is connected with the physical body. The sixth house is associated with physical health-related issues. There could be some issues, intestinal issues, or some problem with the spleen at this time, or the pancreas, abdominal pain. It could be something where you're more apt to be able to speak about it, to understand what could be going on, and also finding out what the root of the problem may be. If you weren't sure why these problems actually occurred to begin with, this could be more of an opportunity to get the news and understand those reasons. Now, Saturn is also associated with our fears, and what puts one in a state of trepidation, and it's a time too to have better understanding of it this time, more so than usual. If you have, say, your natal Saturn falls in the zodiac sign Cancer and or the fourth house, it could be some fear regarding family, or even being able to express nurturing, caring attitude towards sympathetic, expressing sympathy toward others. It could be as a result of not wanting to be hurt. Maybe there's some inhibition connected with expressing those Cancerian tendencies, and it could be a time where you're able to again be able to talk about it more, that siblings, cousins, even neighbors may be able to assist you with those things, understand that more so than usual at this time. And Saturn is also connected with sorrow, and it's a time too, and Saturn is about despondency and sorrow, and it's a time at this point in time where it could be where even taking a short journey might be beneficial to dealing with this, if it's going to talk to somebody that might be able to assist you, whether it's a home or family member, someone prominent in your life in general. Maybe a time where you're more apt to communicate about these things more so than usual. And it's a time too, I would say as well, since Mercury is connected with the hands, it's about manual dexterity. If you're at some place of business, it's more of an opportunity to be able to do things that require that use at this time, and you might be asked to do this when ordinarily that might not even be a requirement. It could simply be trying to assist somebody with something that's not even in your department. Now, Saturn is also associated with structure and discipline. So this is a time where it's more about having very good mental discipline. Again, we're talking about Mercury making a good relationship to the natal Saturn at this time. And it's knowing when, understanding more when to speak, when to restrain yourself at this time. And it could just simply be having that mental discipline on some project that you may be doing, working on at this point in time, whether you might be at work making some kind of layout for something as an example, or whatever it may be. This is the time where it's a very good opportunity, I would say, to express that, to have that mental discipline at this time. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now another way this transit may manifest, it could be where there is positive communication, which is Mercury, about one's career, which is Saturn. Again, going back to, let's say if the natal Saturn is in Cancer as an example, it could be a career associated with real estate, history, restaurant, cooking, culinary work as some examples. Could also be a time where it's auspicious to learn, which is Mercury, about responsibilities, which is Saturn. Let's say, for example, if the natal Saturn is in Aries, it could be welding, carpentry, doing something with cutting instruments as some examples. Now, siblings, cousins, and neighbors, which of course is Mercury, may favor laborious work you may be involved in at this time, and laborious work associated with Saturn. If the natal Saturn, say, is in Virgo, in the third house, it could be diagnosing, which is Virgo, it could be vehicles, cars, which is the third house. Now, short journeys, which is Mercury, may be done with more concentration, and less likely to be distracted. Concentration is associated with Saturn. Let's say, for example, if the natal, the transit Mercury is in Aquarius, it could be doing, there might be something with the short journey, maybe unorthodox, whether you're using an autonomous vehicle as an example, or it could be going to a place that's associated with Aquarius, such as a computer or electronic expo. And also, at this time, your thinking, which is Mercury, may be able to such where you can plan, really formulate a plan to deal with limitations, which is Saturn. Let's say, for example, if the natal Saturn is in Gemini in the third house, it might be some difficulty with the hands or the arms, which may be limiting, like driving ability, as an example. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.